Of a day of late, I became 28, and a year to the day is it since I was ordained to the priesthood, the Roman Catholic priesthood, a missionary priest destined for foreign lands. But before departing this, my blessed of the ages sacred native island home, I wish to receive some words of encouragement from you, some words of wisdom that I may from time to time bring to mind when in faraway places. Perhaps my words will give you some difficulty to make your own. No way, I assure you, no need to worry about that, for my faith is well sound in the God above all gods, and in my love for the Christ Jesus, and in my understanding of the teachings of the Church. And zealous am I too, to a high degree, in my missionary convictions to go spread the good news where it has never been heard of before or witnessed to, or at least it hasn't been done so there in a very long time. Has not that kind of spirited activity seen its best days and its finest champions? Oh, far from it, very much coming back into vogue it is. Really it is. I must somehow have lost touch with such matters. It could easily happen, all right, I suppose, considering that you dwell out here on the side of a hill, far and away from any great seats of learning. Anyway, where are you sending yourself off to? To the People's Republic of China. Which to? What to? Whose to People's Republic? Why, to China's own people, the people of China. To the Chinese People's Republic, of course. Whose else a republic would it be? What do you take to be their mind fixation, their mindset? Above all and anything, it would be, I suppose, concerns very much associated with pragmatic daily living, for always and ever has it been their thinking and practicing way. And in these latter, say, 50 to 100 years, under what guise has it been giving itself expression? Like always and ever, to a no difference has it ever been to the common to goodness way. How to so is manifested this common to goodness way? By the way of homegrown enlightened communism, and nothing out of the ordinary form of communism it is, as is interpreted and practiced according to themselves, according to their own dynastic traditions reaching back for some 4,000 years or more. I see. So how many people, by the way, are there in China? To put it simply and straightforwardly, a whole lot. A mighty whole lot. To what a number would a mighty whole lot be? It has in these latter days been estimated to be somewhere around the 1.4 billion mark. And are they all, to your knowledge, thinking and practicing communists? I take it as a given that they are, to varying degrees, for nowhere in that huge land is there a household that isn't reminded of its obligations to the Central Committee of the Communist Party. Who knows, but perhaps there are many, if not all, who aren't, but who, for the sake of existence, practical, everyday living, are only, as it were, going along with it. What say you? That I wouldn't know, but according to my studies, they are all satisfiedly of the common way, the way of communism, as culturally bestowed upon themselves, by themselves, and for themselves. Was it not rather the case that it was forcibly imposed upon them by one of their own? No, that is what we would call nowadays fake news, a downright mistruth, for it was in actual fact a full free choice made by themselves for themselves. Was there mass extermination of millions of their own people something then they willingly chose for themselves? I don't want to get into that side of the already well-documented historic narrative. Understandable, as the willing self-destruction of a people's own people wouldn't make for very easy conversation, no doubt. That is so very true, but I do know of and am aware of what has gone on that side of their reality and is for sure out of necessity still going on even as we speak. But I don't let it get in the way of my mission to bring the light of the risen Christ to them. Out of necessity? Well, yes. So, are you going to take the Christian message as understood and interpreted by the Roman Catholic Church to the people of China, to the Chinese people, to the Communist People's Republic of China, and ultimately all the way up to the doors of the Premier and the General Secretary and President of the party? Would that be correct? Well, yes, in so many words, that would be correct, all right. In fact, sure I am, right correct it is. If you somehow eventually manage to make an entry into that heavily guarded fortress, where therein will you begin your work? Of course, I will be teaching and witnessing right from wherever I set my foot, but ultimately, my destination will be the provinces north and south of Lake Dongting, namely Hubei and Hunan. And I have already decided to have this lake act as my Lake of Galilee, have it be the geographical center of my ministry. And in a likeness and fashion to Jesus of old, ever new and refreshing, will I about and upon that lake take to teaching and witnessing to the good news. Now, whether they will listen to me or not does not really concern me, but that which does is the hope that they will come to realize that a messenger of the living God is walking among them. That sounds like an extremely dangerous thing to be there doing. No, I assure you, it is not, for brimming over I am with a biblical courage, and besides, believe I do with a great sense of presence that God is within me. God is on my left, God is on my right, God is before me, God is behind me, God is above me, and God is below me. And in addition to that, I come with a great mastery of the divinely inspired sacred scriptures, in particular of the New Testament writings. Thus, to no fear in the world do I have. The kind of danger I am referring to is not of a physical nature, though certainly there could be plenty of that too. But no, what I mean is, you don't know the first thing about Jesus, and to be claiming you do is to be intellectually, faithfully, and emotionally putting yourself in the greatest danger. Where did that gale force wind suddenly sweep in from? I would have you know that it was with a PhD awarded to me in Rome in the field of New Testament Hermeneutics, with having a specialization in the Holy Gospel according to St. John, that I completed my 13 years of seminary training before being ordained a priest in St. Peter's Basilica itself by His Holiness the Pope himself, Bishop of Rome, Vicar of Jesus Christ, Successor of the Prince of the Apostles, Supreme Pontiff of the Universal Church, Primate of Italy, Archbishop and Metropolitan of the Roman province, Sovereign of the Vatican City State, Servant of the servants of God. The Jesus that has been taught in the primary and secondary schools, and in the seminaries for countless decades here on this island and around the world has been but the Jesus according to the teachings of the Church, namely, the Jesus of the Gospels, the Jesus of the Acts of the Apostles, the Jesus of the Epistles, the Jesus of the book of Revelation, call it the Apocalypse of John, and the Jesus who has been projected back into the Old Testament, even to what it calls the beginning of everything, to the foundation of the cosmos and the earth itself. Does it not, in so many words, say, "In the beginning was the Word, the Logos," namely that in the beginning was Jesus, and that Jesus was not alone with God, but he was God. He is God. Yes, it does. And that through him all things were made and continuously are being made, and that without him nothing is made. Correct? Correct. In him is life, and that life is the light of all humankind, irrespective of race, culture, or geographical origin. True? True. And that the light that is Jesus has been shining in what it calls the darkness of the ages, and that this darkness of the ages has never ever been able to extinguish it. Would that be right? Yes, that would be right, but isn't that the only Jesus there is? Is there another Jesus besides this? The Jesus, the light in the darkness that has been faithfully and traditionally taught by the Church now with almost 2,000 years? No, not another Jesus, but a Jesus that comes across as someone very different from the Jesus that has been presented to the world by the Church. Church doctrine clearly teaches that any Jesus who would be outside the magisterium of the Church is a false Jesus, an impostor, plain and simple, not the Jesus, the Christ at all. Are you sure about that? Sure to sure I am, for the Church has always had a certain infallibility about it, in that it binds itself by divine truth to divine truth. The Jesus of the Gospels, the Jesus of Lake Galilee, and the Jesus referred to in the Acts, Epistles, and Revelation are one and the same. No Jesus is there besides him. Even more so, no Jesus is there outside of him. And then, what say you the Gospels are? The Gospels? They are a highly watered down, wine of the vine version of who the real Jesus was. How so? The teachings of the real Jesus were way too hot to handle, way too difficult to take on board. They or he could never be effectively brought to heel. So the evangelists, the compilers and composers of the Gospels, produced works that reduced an exceptionally vast mustard tree down to a more manageable size, a seed size, say. Call it, if you like, a miniaturized version of itself, which could be kept nicely watered, nourished, and trimmed indefinitely, while giving the very real impression that it is the true representation of the mighty tree that is Jesus. They, and the writings which followed suit, would act as the foundation on which a revamped version of the Old Testament salvation narrative would be firmly established. That has always been the defining character of the Church. It's Jesus being nothing more than a servant, and an exceptionally obedient servant at that. Not very different at all from, dare I say, a well-trained and well-behaved pet. Hold on there now, hold on there now. That is downright blasphemy, so it is. Blasphemy? How to so is it? It is so it is so. Listen, if you take a message a teaching that you only superficially comprehend and yet still adamantly claim to know what it is in depth, in height, and in width, then you are heading for a disastrous outcome, which could not alone result in the destruction of your mind and your emotions, but even your very body. If you bring the Jesus of the Church's teachings to the shore dwellers of Lake Dongting and its inbounds, and even if you were to look upon the river Yangtze as if it is the river Jordan, you will most definitely be inviting disgrace and harm upon yourself, and not alone upon yourself, but upon those who have sent you to them, not to mention those handful there who may be even taken in by your words. Belief in your words will surely have life-threatening consequences for them. I hear you, but I can't and won't accept what you're saying. That would be paramount to betraying myself, to betraying the Church and everything I and it stands for. It would be to cast aside everything I have ever learned about Jesus the Christ, even God the God. No, I have no fear, for as I have already stated, brimming over I am with a biblical courage, and besides, believe I do with a great sense of presence that God is within me, God is on my left, God is on my right, God is before me, God is behind me, God is above me, and God is below me. The Jesus of which I have made reference to, the one not presented, not represented in the Church's teachings, not taught in the schools and seminaries, first took to teaching and witnessing to himself the depths, the widths, the heights, and the surroundings of the message, and only after being fully convinced of its authenticity and power in, of, and for himself, did he venture to confidently take to teaching and witnessing it to others. This may be said to have been his signature modus operandi. That Jesus never raised anyone from the dead, nor did he ever establish any a church, either metaphorically or literally on any a rock of any a kind, no more than did he ever get arrested for anything. What? Listen, unless the message is fully true in and of and for yourself first, it assuredly won't ring true when to others you come to teaching and witnessing to it. And you wouldn't need to go off to faraway places either to do that. You will be placing yourself in a highly embarrassing situation. Asking for trouble you will, that is for sure. And there is, of course, the ever-present problem of the language deferential, constantly flowing itself over into conversations with cultural references, historical subtleties, connotations, and nuances. If you hurt the hearts and minds of others, you will leave them little or no choice but to send you packing. And that choice of theirs would you be looking upon, given the grimness of the alternative, as a most fortunate gesture of kindness to you on their part. Call it an act of mercy. And then, of course, there is the no small matter that the Tao concept found in Confucianism and Taoism does not in the least lend itself to play the role of the Judean Yahweh or the Christian God, or even, for that matter, the Muslim Allah. And likewise, neither too can it be said that the Tao encapsulates Yahweh, God or Allah, nor that Allah, God or Yahweh encapsulates the Tao. Why such startledom? Why suddenly are you taking your leave? I am going off to in-depthly read between the lines of the Gospels, Acts, Epistles, and Revelation, that I may come to know something of the Jesus of whom you speak. I doubt it greatly you will be successful with such an approach. Why so? Well, if anything, it would be better a whole lot better if you were to attempt to listen about those lines rather than merely to be trying to read between them. In this way, you will possibly begin to be able to make some headway, even some hard way, however slight. How to so can this be done? True, I fear you have already been over-conditioned to think and believe only in a certain way, so say to so. It can't hurt me though, to at least try though, wouldn't you agree though? You it will hurt you a great deal it will, intellectually, faithfully, and emotionally. Even so, better it is for me to be in the full know before off to the great promised land of China I do go. Alas, 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 allay, and me here in soliloquy, this surely would not be your way. No way, no more than to say mine it would be. Oh, my mind truly I know to be a wondrous place, its ideas and their ways immensely fascinating.